Hey, what is up, everyone, and welcome to my Star Trek Into Darkness spoiler discussion, where, of course, I'll be talking about many of the key points of the story of Star Trek Into Darkness, and I'll be spoiling them, and I'll be talking about them, if they're good, if they're bad, whatever. Now, if you want to know what I think of this film without spoilers, I did a review. It was a really long one, but I did not spoil anything. So go check that review out. It's pretty long, but I tried to make it longer. I actually tried to make it longer this time because it was it was my most anticipated film of this year. So yeah, I made it longer. I talked about more of the acting and the action and whatnot. So go check that review out. But now let's spoil the crap out of some Star Trek Into Darkness. And I'm warning you right now, this is as far as you go if you have not seen this film yet. If you don't care about seeing the film or you already saw it, then continue. But if you have not seen the film yet, I am going to spoil the stuff. I'm saying this because I know there's going to be one comment that says, "Oh, thanks for spoiling that." Well, I'm sorry. I'm giving you ample time right now to go away, go see the film, and then continue the video, or just click off the video and never watch it. I don't care. Just do not comment and say, "Oh, you spoiled something. Oh my god, I hate you, Gar." And I know me saying that is going to get plenty of people that are going to say that jokingly, but I don't want to see a serious one. You could joke around. I don't care. I don't want to see a serious one. So, let's get into the spoilers. Okay. The first thing I want to talk about is a thing that I was actually really excited for, the Klingons. How were they going to do the Klingons? Because, I mean, this isn't really a spoiler, to be honest, because they've been talking about the Klingons. They're going to be there. In one trailer, you can actually see them, and everybody's like, "Oh, those are Klingons." So, in a way, it's not a spoiler, but yes, there's Klingons in this film, and you're thinking they're going to have the way they look in the TV show or even in the movies. Well, they actually changed it around a little bit. I actually really like the new design of the Klingons. The thing is that they don't use the Klingons too much. You see one Klingon without his helmet off. I think you might see another one, but that's about it. So it's really just there to be like, "Hey, Klingon, this is the way they look in this universe, so how do you like it?" So that's pretty much what it is. It's pretty much them. They look like humans, except they look like they have these little, not really fish scales, but they have like this kind of edgy thing. I'm not even sure how to explain it, but it doesn't matter. The character design looks really cool. They were there just so Benedict Cumberbatch's character could come and whoop some ass, and he did one of the best action scenes in that movie. So awesome. But yeah, the Klingons I thought looked pretty good. Now, one thing that I also want to talk about, which isn't really considered a spoiler, well, no, it's not really, is the references. And I know a lot of critics are going to give this movie crap because it references a lot of other Star Trek movies or shows or whatnot. And I know Spill.com really didn't like this. Cyrus from Spill.com hated this. But I really enjoyed it because I got all the references. Every reference they made is from one of the movies, mostly Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and maybe a TV show that's so quotable and so popular that even if you didn't watch that episode, you already know that quote because you've heard it so many times. I legitimately enjoyed the references because they weren't like in your face. I really hate when people do these references to other past things and it's so in your face. Like there's one point where Spock is in a volcano and he says the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and that's a big thing that Spock says in Wrath of Khan. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, I think it's Wrath of Khan. And he says in this movie, and people might think that's like, "Oh my god, that's a reference." They do it so quick, and I was in a theater filled with Trekkies. I could tell because everybody was wearing a Star Trek shirt. It wasn't, Star Trek from the 2009 version. They had Leonard Nimoy and freaking William Shatner on it. There was a lot of Trekkies in there. And they didn't even catch that. I would have heard them go, "Oh, yo, he said it. You heard that?" No. Everybody was like, "Oh, okay, volcano. Oh, did he say something? I don't even know." And I like that the references were just like, "Ooh, quick. That's it." There are tons of them throughout the film, and I don't think any of the references were forced. I thought they were really well done, very just quick, smart, and I really liked them. I did. Now, saying that, there is a line that I can really see people hating, completely hating. I actually really liked it, and I think pretty much my entire theater liked it because they were all like, "Yeah," and they were clapping after that moment. But I'm not going to spoil it right this second because it actually leads into my next spoiler, which I will get to in a second. But before I do that, let me just say, references in this film I really liked, especially the ones that are just like quick and snappy. I really like those, which are pretty much all of them, but the quicker and snappier ones are my favorites. But now, the big spoiler of this film, the entire film, this is the biggest spoiler I can give, is for the character that Benedict Cumberbatch plays, John Harrison, who in the middle of the film reveals himself to Kirk and Spock to be Khan, who of course was the big villain from Wrath of Khan. Of course, his name was in the title, and he is probably the most popular villain. I would say the most popular villain of the Star Trek universe, or maybe even just the Star Trek original series, with of course Kirk and Spock. I would say that, because people love Ricardo Montalban in that film. He was so good in that. He was a menacing villain that when I heard they might bring Khan into this film, I was like, oh man, they better do a good job. Then Benedict Cumberbatch was cast as the villain. I was like, oh, he could do a great Khan, I think. And then, of course, they were like, no, it's not Khan. It's John Harrison. He's another very small character in Star Trek, I think at least. And then they were saying, oh, he's this character. No, he's John Harrison again. He's not Khan. He's not Khan. They were hammering it home. He is not Khan. Shut up. Even freaking Benedict Cumberbatch came out and said, you guys are idiots if you think it's Khan. It's not Khan, okay? And, of course, I love you guys for doing this. This is the complete opposite of something like Terminator Salvation, where they spoiled that twist in the trailer. Here, they didn't spoil it in the trailer, they didn't spoil it in any ads, they didn't even spoil it in interviews. They made it clear that, no, Khan is not in this film, and guess what? Khan is in this film. There you go. Some people might consider that some bullshit, that they would lie to us like that, but you know what? I like it. I really do like it, and of course, my main example would be Terminator Salvation. If they said, no, he's not a Terminator, he's not a Terminator. Nope, stop saying he's a Terminator, because he's not a Terminator. And then you find out he's a Terminator, I would have liked that, because I'll be like, you know what, at least they didn't, spoil their big twist in the trailer or something. But of course they did. Now, even though I'm giving this twist credit, I saw it coming from a mile away. I really did. And the reason why is because everybody on Twitter, everybody on Facebook, everybody that I've read a review for has been saying there's a twist with one character that is so stupid, or, oh, there's a twist with one character that's so good. And I'm like, well, obviously it's Benedict Cumberbatch is actually Khan. So really, I actually kind of did get spoiled, but not from the filmmakers or the trailer or whatever. No, I got it spoiled from you guys. Thanks a lot, dickheads. Why didn't you just shut up? Like in my review, I didn't even mention there's a big twist with a character. I just said John Harrison's evil as fuck villain. That's all I said. You didn't need to say, oh, there's a twist with one character. Oh, I'm proving to you that I actually watched the film. Just shut up, okay? Shut up. And that's exactly what it was. People just wanted to prove to other people that they actually watched the film. So they had to say something like, there's a twist with a character. Oh, there you go. I actually did watch the film. I'm not bullshitting you. And I don't know. It was just, I hated that. And it really did spoil me for that. The Khan reveal was so good. Benedict Cumberbatch has this amazing deep voice. Shall we begin? I can't even do it. I can't do it. He has one of the best voices in Hollywood right now. And when he reveals himself, he says, my name is, and then like a pause for 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh no, he's going to say it, Khan. I was like, oh, and he is a perfect Khan in here. I would even argue that he is just as good as Ricardo Montalban, even though I would say Ricardo Montalban was a little bit less, sinister, and he didn't have, well, he had a deep voice, but he wasn't as dark as Benedict Cumberbatch's Khan is. I would say. I haven't seen Wrath of Khan in a very long time, so people are going to correct me, but I think so. So Cumberbatch as Khan is perfect. One of the best villains in recent memory. So sinister, so good. Great voice. I love that guy. And his name, amazing. Cumberbatch, like Benedict is already awesome, but then Cumberbatch, so good. But what I also like about his character is that he is actually somewhat likable at a part. There is a part where he actually reveals his past and talks about his crew and how they were his family, and his crew is still alive, but they're in these missiles, and if you fire these missiles, if you actually use these missiles, then my crew members are going to die. He pretty much surrenders himself because he doesn't want to lose his crew. It's a great backstory to a great villain that, even though he killed Pike in the beginning, which was actually a pretty sad scene because I really liked Pike from this film and the last one. Even though he killed Pike and he killed other innocent people, I still really liked this character at that point. I was like, you know what, maybe you'll be the good dude. I mean, you'll still be a bad dude, but maybe from now on you'll be like a buddy. But then, of course, what does he do? He just flips out at one point because Scotty stuns him, and he just flips out. He whips some ass. He friggin' kills Marcus. Oh boy, that was awesome. And yeah, it was an awesome scene. But yeah, he flips out and does not become a good guy at all. Which that actually leads into my next spoiler, which is right after Khan whips Scotty and Kirk's ass and kills Marcus. He takes Marcus's ship that he was going to use to destroy the Enterprise and kill Khan in the process, and lets Scotty and Kirk beam themselves back into the Enterprise and decides, you know what, I'm going to blow the Enterprise up now because the captain's back. A ship should not go down without its captain. But before I whip your ass, give me back my torpedo friends, and maybe we'll go our separate ways and I'll let you live. Of course, Spock, being the captain at this point because Kirk was not on the Enterprise, decides, okay, fine, I'll do that. And Spock lets him, of course, take his torpedo friends back. The thing is that Spock took all the Bones took all the cryotubes out of the missiles and let Khan take all the torpedoes, and he armed one of them. So, of course, Khan's like, no, and blows everything up on the ship. Everything's just destroyed. Boom, 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 done. But before that, of course, Khan starts blowing the shit out of Enterprise. So both the Enterprise and Marcus's starship is actually pretty much in space, about to fall apart right onto Earth. Kirk makes the last minute decision to go and realign the warp core, or whatever the hell, pretty much the engine, and try to make it work again. And doing that, he gets radiation poisoning. And this is one thing I want to say, I freaking called it. When I saw in the trailer, you see Spock do his little, his Vulcan hand gesture. I can't remember what it's called. And of course, Kirk holding his hand up to the glass, just like in Wrath of Khan, except Spock is the one who's dying, and Kirk is the one like, oh, goodbye, my friend. And in this movie, I called it. It's reversed. I called that. I called it. I didn't say it in a video because I didn't want to spoil it, but I really did. I legitimately called it that it was going to be roles reversed, and I really liked how they did it because Kirk didn't really do much throughout the film, I would say. I mean, he was definitely a presence, don't get me wrong, but at that point, he was a hero because he saved everybody on the Enterprise and proved that he was a captain. He sacrificed himself and he died there, and it was such a, it was a heart-wrenching scene. I mean, I knew he was going to come back. There's no way in hell they would kill off Kirk, but it was such a well-done scene. Both Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto made that work perfectly, especially Chris Pine, because at that part, he's dying from radiation poisoning, and they can't let him out because the Enterprise is all screwed up, and they can't open the doors to let him out. So he's just there. He's dying, and he did a great job of selling that point. And Zachary Quinto, this is the part where I was talking about where there's a reference that people are not going to like, a line that they're not going to like. When Kirk dies, he looks up in the sky and yells, Khan! Yep. He does it. The thing is that he does it serious. Don't get me wrong. William Shatner tried to do it serious too, but it ended up being goofy as fuck. Now, they don't do the echo thing, which is horrible in that film. It really is. Where, Khan! And they look outside at space, Khan! And then they look further, Khan! So it does that echo thing. They didn't do it in this film. They did it real quick. Again, one of my favorite things about the references, they made it quick. He yelled Khan, and then jumped right into the next scene where there's a bunch of action going on. And thank God for that, because it might have made it cheesy if it did the echo thing. But yeah, it was an extremely emotional scene for me. I was like, oh man, I'm tearing up and shit. And it was so good. Even though I knew he was going to come back, it was so good. And Spock being just emotional as all hell, seeing him break down, I thought that was perfect. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like when Spock isn't, doesn't have emotions and stuff, but he is half human. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was half human in the original Star Trek show too, so why can't he show emotions sometimes? And I like that J.J. Abrams did that in this film, and I love that. That part was so good when he's chasing down Khan on the city streets of, I think, London, and he's chasing him down and jumping from car to car and stuff. That was an amazing action scene that was just so tense. So that's pretty much it. Star Trek Into Darkness, my favorite film of this year, one of my favorite films of the last few years. I love this movie to death. I know there's going to be some people that really just don't like it, especially the hardcore Trekkies that are a little upset that this is becoming more of an action film. I don't really get that complaint, man. There's plenty of times where the crew gets to sit down, talk to one another, communicate during battles and stuff. It still feels like the Enterprise, the crew of the Enterprise, just like in the original 2009 film. I thought it felt like a Star Trek film, and I have to see it a couple more times before I actually come up with a verdict on if this is actually better than the 2009 version. Now, Wrath of Khan is an amazing film, do not get me wrong, but it has aged. It has. There is some scenes where it does show its age. I mean, if that movie came out now and it had the same script, it had the same performances, but it had updated special effects, then I would say it's better than both this and the original J.J. Abrams Star Trek. But seeing that it is older, you have to take that in consideration. And Into Darkness, in my opinion, is a better film. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. I'm sorry. That's an amazing film. Wrath of Khan is so good. I mean, even if you're not a Trek fan, that is one of the original movies that is an awesome action film with great dialogue and great characters and amazing acting, especially from Ricardo Montalban as Khan. So definitely go check that film out. It's been a little while since I saw it, but it is an amazing Trek film. But this one is an updated one, which will please pretty much everybody, in my opinion. But again, my opinion doesn't mean anything. Sorry. So anyway, there you go. There's my spoiler discussion for Star Trek Into Darkness. If I had to say anything else, Leonard Nimoy made a new cameo. Hell yeah, Leonard Nimoy as old Spock again. He made a cameo. That was cool. It might have been a little bit forced to some people. I thought it was cool. My phone's ringing, so I gotta get out of here. That was an awesome cameo, and this was an awesome movie. I'm gonna go see it again tomorrow. So until then, thank you and goodbye.